Hello, my name's Mattie. Welcome to my Storyland. Today's reading is a request, and I thank you for it, Robert. It is a beautiful poem from the American Hoosier poet James Whitcomb Riley. Born in 1849, much of his work was influenced by his childhood days in rural Indiana. His poem, Out to Old Aunt Mary's, is the perfect example. It takes the form of a letter written to his brother. In it, he harkens back to the lazy days of their youth, when they were young and the world was simple and wondrous, and the summers were bright and long. It's about love and memories and aging and death. It's about times in our life that have come and gone, but it's not sad or melancholic, for they are not lost. The poem tells us that as long as our memories live, those times remain a part of us, and all we have to do is stop and listen, and we can hear their echoes. And today, it is my pleasure to read it to you. Are you ready? Then let's begin. Out to Old Aunt Mary's by James Whitcomb Riley. Wasn't it pleasant, oh brother mine, in those old days of the lost sunshine of youth, when the Saturday's chores were through, and the Sunday's wood in the kitchen too, and we went visitin', me and you, out to old Aunt Mary's? Me and you and the morning fair, with the dewdrops twinkling everywhere, the scent of the cherry blossoms blown after us in the roadway lone, our capering shadows onward thrown, out to old Aunt Mary's. It all comes back so clear today, though I am bald as you are gray. Out by the barn lot and down the lane, we patter along in the dust again, as light as the tips of the drops of rain, out to old Aunt Mary's. The last few houses of the town, then on up the High Creek bluffs and down, past the squat toll gate with its well-sweep pole, the bridge, the old baptizing hole, loitering, awed o'er pool and shoal, out to old Aunt Mary's. We crossed the pasture and through the wood, where the old gray snag of the poplar stood, where the hammering redheads hopped awry, and the buzzard raised in the clearing sky, and lolled and circled as we went by, out to old Aunt Mary's. Or stayed by the glint of the redbird's wings, or the glitter of the song that the bluebird sings. All hushed, we feigned to strike strange trails, as the big braves do in the Indian tales, till again our real quest lags and fails, out to old Aunt Mary's. And the woodland echoes with yells of mirth that make old war whoops of minor worth, where such heroes of war as we, with bows and arrows of fantasy, chasing each other from tree to tree, out to old Aunt Mary's. And then, in the dust of the road again, and the teams we met, and the countrymen, and the long highway with sunshine spread as thick as butter on country bread, our cares behind, our hearts ahead, out to old Aunt Mary's. For only now, at the road's next bend, to the right we could make out the gable end of the fine old Houston homestead, not half a mile from the sacred spot where dwelt our saint in her simple cot, out to old Aunt Mary's. Why, I see her now in the open door, where the little gourds grew up the side and o'er the clapboard roof, and her face, ah me, wasn't it good for a boy to see? Wasn't it good for a boy to be, out to old Aunt Mary's? The jelly, the jam, and the marmalade, and the cherry and quince preserves she made, and the sweet sour pickles of peach and pear with cinnamon in 'em, and all things rare, and the more we ate was the more to spare, out to old Aunt Mary's. Ah, was there ever so kind a face, and gentle as hers, and such a grace of welcoming, as she cut the cake, or the juicy pies she joyed to make, just for the visiting children's sake, out to old Aunt Mary's. The honey, too, in its amber comb, one only finds in an old farm home, and the coffee, fragrant and sweet, and oh, so hot that we glory to drink it so, with spangles of tears in our eyes, you know, out to old Aunt Mary's. And the romps we took in our glad unrest, was it the lawn that we loved the best, with its swooping swing and the locust trees? Or was it the grove, with its leafy breeze, or the dim haymow with its fragrancies, out to old Aunt Mary's? Far fields, bottomlands, creek banks all, we ranged at will, where the waterfall laughed all day as it slowly poured over the dam by the old mill ford, while the tail race writhed and the mill wheel roared, out to old Aunt Mary's. But home with Auntie and near a call, that was the best place after all. The talks on the back porch in the low, slanting sun and the evening glow, with a voice of counsel that touched us so, out to old Aunt Mary's. And then in the garden, near the side where the beehives were, and the path was wide, the apple house like a fairy cell, with a little square door we knew so well, and the wealth inside but our tongues could tell, out to old Aunt Mary's. And the old spring house, the cool green gloom of the willow trees, and the cooler room where the swinging shelves and the crocks were kept, where the cream in a golden languor slept, while the waters gurgled and laughed and wept, out to old Aunt Mary's. And as many a time as you and I, barefoot boys in the days gone by, knelt in the tremulous ecstasies, dipped our lips into sweets like these, memory now is on her knees, out to old Aunt Mary's. For oh, my brother, so far away, this is to tell you she waits today to welcome us. Aunt Mary fell asleep this morning, whispering, "Tell the boys to come, and all is well." Out to old Aunt Mary's. And with that, I bid you farewell. I hope you enjoyed the poem. Perhaps I'll see you again. I certainly hope so. Until then. Hello, Mattie here. Thanks for watching me read stuff. There are lots more videos of me reading stuff over on my channel, and if there's other stuff you'd really like me to read, just let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I upload new videos all the time, so maybe hit the bell icon too, so you can get notified when new stuff comes out. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time.